I just reviewed a case where a family lost $200,000 because of 5 simple mistakes in their first will. And here's the thing, these weren't complicated legal errors. They were basic decisions that anyone making their first will can get wrong. I'm Tiffany Weber, and I'm a real estate attorney in North Carolina. After handling thousands of real estate matters and estate planning, I can tell you that your first will is either going to protect your family's future or destroy it. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to avoid the 5 mistakes that cost families everything. But first, let me tell you about the Johnson family case, not their real names, obviously, that changed how I advise all my clients about their first will. The Johnsons thought they were being smart. They finally got around to making their first will after years of procrastination. They had 2 kids, a house, some savings, pretty typical situation. But they made all 5 mistakes I'm about to show you. When Mr. Johnson passed away unexpectedly, what should have been a simple inheritance turned into a 2-year legal nightmare that cost the family nearly $200,000 in legal fees, taxes, and lost assets. Here's what it really means when I say first will mistakes. These aren't typos or technical errors. These are fundamental decisions about how you structure your will that most people get completely wrong because nobody explains the real world consequences. Mistake number 1, the everything to my spouse trap. Here's what most people do wrong. They think, I'll just leave everything to my spouse. That's simple. And yes, it is simple, but here's what it really means. You're giving up control over where your assets ultimately end up. Let me break this down in plain English. When you leave everything to your surviving spouse can later leave your estate to anyone they want. New spouse, stepchildren, charities, anyone. The Johnsons made this exact mistake. Miss Johnson remarried, and guess where Mr. Johnson's life insurance and retirement savings ended up? With the new husband's kids from his first marriage. The bottom line is this. You have options. You can leave assets available for your spouse's needs while still controlling the ultimate destination. But most people making their first will never even know these options exist. Mistake number 2, the my kids are responsible assumption. Now here's the thing about leaving money directly to your children, even responsible, mature adult children. The Johnsons' kids were 28 and 32, both college graduates with good jobs. Seemed like a safe bet, right? Wrong. Here's what it really means when you leave assets outright to your kids. You're gambling that they'll never get divorced, never have creditor problems, never make poor financial decisions, and never face any major life crisis that could wipe out their inheritance. The Johnson's daughter got divorced 3 years after inheriting. Guess what happened to half of her inheritance from dad? It went to her ex-husband in the divorce settlement. The alternative, leave everything in an inheritance trust. I know what you're thinking. Trusts are complicated and expensive, but here's what I've learned. A simple trust costs a couple thousand to set up and can save your family hundreds of thousands of dollars. Mistake number 3, the single executor disaster. Many people making their first will name their spouse as executor and call it done. Most families do exactly this, but here's what they don't consider. What if your spouse can't serve as executor? I know a woman who was 67 when her husband died. She was in the early stages of dementia. Now what? No alternative executor was named in the will. The court had to appoint someone, which added months to the process and thousands in additional legal fees. Here's what it really means to name alternates. You're creating a backup plan for when life doesn't go according to your will. Always name at least 2 alternate executors, preferably from different generations. Mistake number 4, the will versus trust knowledge gap. This is the big one that costs families the most money. The Johnsons used a simple will, which meant every asset in Mr. Johnson's name had to go through probate. Let me explain what this really means in plain English. Probate is a court process that oversees the distribution of your assets. It's public and it takes months at minimum to complete. The Johnson estate, 18 months in probate, tens of thousands in legal fees, and sensitive details of their finances became public record. Here's what most people don't know. A properly funded revocable living trust avoids probate entirely. Your successor trustee can distribute assets immediately after your death. No court, no lawyers, no public records, no delays. The bottom line, if you don't want your assets on hold, you should seriously consider a trust instead of just a will. Mistake number 5, the just a will approach. Here's the final mistake that catches families completely off guard. They think estate planning means get a will and you're done. But here's what it really means to have complete estate planning. You need documents that work during your lifetime, not just after you die. When the woman I mentioned earlier started showing signs of dementia, the family discovered they had no power of attorney documents. Nobody could access her accounts, make financial decisions, or handle medical choices for her. Result? Another court process, more legal fees, more family stress during an already difficult time. So here's the bottom line from the Johnson family case and of others I've handled. Your first will is either going to protect your family or cost them everything. These 5 mistakes aren't just theoretical problems. They're real-world disasters that happen to families every single day. But now you know what to avoid. You know the questions to ask. you know why these decisions matter. If this video helped you understand what you need to know before making your first will, hit that subscribe button right now. I'm creating a whole series on estate planning mistakes that cost families thousands of dollars, and you don't want to miss the next one. And here's what I want you to do right now. Write down these 5 areas and have a conversation with your family about each one. Don't let your family become the next Johnson case study. I'm Tiffany Weber, and I'll see you in the next video where I'm going to show you the 3 estate planning documents that are more important than your will.